Hey folks, today we're going to go with a minimalist rundown here of the Protection Paladin in PvP. And honestly, if you are enjoying Paladins in Shadowlands, you must be having a ton of fun with this tank spec. So let's jump into it. As far as talent builds go, we're going to go with 3-1-1, 2-1-1-2. And that's a pretty popular build for the most part. We'll touch on that a little bit more here in a second. Seeing more than 3/4 of the player base playing with Blessed Hammer really just makes it easy to stack some holy damage on enemies and reducing the next damage they do to you. Holy Shield does get a little bit of play, and that's actually just to make life a little bit easier if you prefer the increase in your block, but that's kind of what the play is. Tier 2, Moment of Glory, completely uncompetitive. Your two choices are First Avenger, where Avenger Shield hits 2 additional targets, and that lines up well with my choice of Legendary, and we'll get into that in a little bit. The next alternative is you could go with Crusader's Judgment, and now Judgment has 2 charges, which is fantastic if you're looking to do some more range damage. We can get into that. Fisted Judgment is the play, I don't know, about 2/3 of the time, to be honest. You're seeing Blinding Light gets some attention here, about 1/3 or about 35% of all the PvP builds that are out there. Tier 4, you're seeing Cavalier, like the added mobility for a pretty immobile spec is definitely valued or prioritized here, so keep that one in mind. Unbreakable Spirit gets used about 1/3 of the time, so that's there as well. The reduced cooldown on Divine Shield is always attractive. I prefer that in more of the PV world, however. Tier 5, go with Divine Purpose. So your Holy Power abilities have a 15% chance to make your next Holy Power ability free. This is a carryover from our Legion days. It's still a ton of fun. Definitely can be worked in here. If you'd prefer additional cooldowns, you could go with Holy Avenger. Basically just tripling your holy power generation if you want to set yourself up for a big burst, or go with Seraphim if you're looking to double up on some of your secondary stat benefits. Tier 6, Hand of the Protector gets really some of the attention on this play, and that's just tied to the benefits of this spec. Not only can prop pals heal themselves with their utility, they can also heal other members of the group, whether you're in arena or battlegrounds. This is a absolute great play. And then finally, tier 7, you've got a few choices here. Righteous Protector is what we recommend, and it's just reducing the remaining cooldown on Avenging Wrath and Guardian of Ancient Kings, which, like, hey, it's your biggest burst and your biggest defensive. Why wouldn't you want that? Sanctified Wrath gets play about 1/3 of the time. So Avenging Wrath lasts 25% longer, causes Judgment to generate an additional holy power, so you can see how that would get a little bit helpful if you're looking for more of a burst as well. And then finally, Final Stand. So Divine Shield, all targets within 15 yards are taunted. Not a ton of real play here, unless like you're spec'd up against a group that has a bunch of pets, if you think that that's a threat, but that's more of a PvE talent. Now over to PvP, there's not one single winner here, and that seems to be the case with a lot of these prop pal builds. But what we are seeing pretty clearly is that like Steed of Glory is used almost 40% of the time. So having your Cavalier talent spec and getting 2 extra seconds of really burst speed, that's what's attractive about it, and not having any kind of movement impairing effects or knockbacks really taking you out. So just being able to charge through makes a huge difference. Guardian of the Forgotten Queen gets a lot of play, and that allows you to basically take the Guardian of Forgotten Kings talent and actually just placing it on a friendly member and causing them to basically be immune to all damage for 10 seconds. Like, great play, especially if you're thinking about doing arenas. This is an easy way to really just disrupt the other team's desired kill target. Shield of Virtue gets a fair bit of play, and when it's activated, your next Avenger Shield will interrupt and silence all enemies within 8 yards of the target. So that's what I go with. I combine that with my Legendary Holy Avenger's Engraved Sigil, and basically every time I cast Avenger Shield, it's got a 35% chance to have its cooldown instantly reset. So that basically has given me Avenger Shield after Avenger Shield pretty frequently over the course of a minute. So lots of fun there. A couple slightly less used PvP talents that you could be worth checking out. Unbound Freedom sees a little bit of use. Blessings of Freedom increases your movement speed by 30%. So for a slow spec like us, helps move us around. And basically when you gain it, you gain a Blessing of Freedom on a friendly target as well. So not bad, not bad. And it's undispellable. So that's the big win there. The last one we'll touch on here is just Hallowed Ground. So concentration clears and suppresses all of the snare effects on allies within its area of effect. So fair bit of play that's there. I was having some fun with Guarded by the Light a little bit, which basically meant that your flash of light reduces all damage the target receives by 10%, stacking up to 2 times. So you could put a 20% basically defensive on one of your teammates, but it only lasts for 6 seconds. If it was closer to 10, that would be much more competitive, but that's kind of how the play set up. As far as covenants go, we're seeing over 70% of proc pals that are in arenas are in the Kyrian Covenant. The next one being Venthyr, and that's just tied to the Ashen Ground Covenant ability there. Night Fae are cleaning up with 7%, but you can definitely see that Kyrian is the preferred choice, and like with Divine Toll, it absolutely makes sense why. You're able to apply a lot of burst damage pretty quick on a spec that's built for burst. As far as legendaries go, that doesn't seem like there's one clear-cut favorite. Bulwark of Righteous Fury, that sees about the most play, but honestly, that's only 21% of the overall PvP population. So that's just causing your Avenger Shield to increase the damage of your next Shield of Righteousness by 30% for each target hit, stacking up to 5 times, and increase its radius by 6 yards. So there's some play there in PvP. There's definitely some play with that in PvE as well. That's a solid one across the board. Magistrates Judgment. So basically from a protection, Judgment has a 45% chance, basically to reduce the cost of your next holy power by 1. That's just kind of okay. Shock Barrier. Holy Shock protects the target with a shield of Holy Light for 18 seconds, absorbing damage equal to 20% of Holy Shock for every 6 seconds. I don't know. That's okay if you're paired up with another pal, basically. Reign of Endless Kings. When you drop below 20% health, you become infused with Guardian of Ancient Kings for 4 seconds. It can occur again for 45 seconds. But not bad. If you're on the ropes, like, you're going to get a pretty solid buff. And finally, the last one we're going to cover here is the Mad Paragon. So Hammer of Wrath deals 30% additional damage and extends the duration of Crusade, Avenging Crusader, Avenging Wrath, like whatever you're talented into, you're going to see an extension there, which is attractive for a burst build like this. As far as stats go, like, there's no way anyone should be doing anything but prioritizing versatility. I feel like it's a lot more accessible in Shadowlands. However, once you get burst, haste is probably where you want to put your next amount of secondaries. If you can't get haste, get crit. That's the way to go. Ignore mastery. It's not going to help our spec out a whole ton. Alright folks, that's kind of the play. Let me know what you think, what you like, what you disagree with. Tell me it all. Thanks for watching, and hit that subscribe button. See ya.